we can work for anyone, okay? But what that person needs to know, and I worked for people and built homes for people that were as far away as New York City, okay? But it doesn't matter to us because we're going to do what we're supposed to do and when we're supposed to do it. And so that person we can communicate any kind of way, but it's not going to change just because of distance what we do. And that actually, it makes us step our game up when they are our way to give them the assurance that, hey, you don't have to worry about anything. We're going to do it.
Welcome to the In the Arena podcast. My name is Jared Miguez, a co-host on this podcast that brings you the inspiring stories of our clients who are leaders and innovators across different industries in Southeast Louisiana. They are visionary entrepreneurs, savvy real estate professionals, media creators, military business owners, and community champions. And we are going to showcase the remarkable achievements and share their personal stories. Tune in for insightful conversations, valuable lessons, and motivational stories that are going to reveal their secrets to success and offer you insights to help you on your own path. Welcome to In the Arena Podcast. Welcome to the In the Arena Podcast. Really excited to talk about a business that has a legacy, because we talk about values all the time. Legacy is one of our values, near and dear to our heart. And so we're excited to tell you guys a story and then help our audience become better business people by listening to people who have had 3 generations of success in the building community. Yeah, that's cool. That's great. So let's start with who you are and the name of your business, and we'll start with Dad.
I'm Mike Martin, and my business is DMM Construction, and I've been driving nails and working for 50 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm Adam Martin.
That's it? Just 50?
Yeah, I'm Adam Martin, of course, Mike's son. I'm 3rd generation owner, and our brand under my generation is Martin Building Group.
Gotcha. And so is it still operated the same business? Just you'll transition to the new name. That's very cool. And so you said you've been driving nails for 50 years.
Yes,
I mean, you started, doing the work, hammering the nails. And
yes,
so
I did. I literally was framing houses and forming houses, pouring concrete with my dad, even before I got out of high school. And so my first opportunity to build my first house, I was 17 years old, cotton farmer in Fort Necessity, Louisiana. Most people do not know where that is located, but it's 35 miles south of Monroe, and that's where I grew up, and my dad taught me all that I know.
Yeah. Which, we something else we'd like to talk about too is the impact, positive and negative, that people have had in your lives, right? And her dad had a huge impact on her. My dad and my grandfather had a big impact on me and who I am as a person. And so I like to not pass that up. Like, what impact did your dad have? Like, how close were you? How much did he inspire you and impact you? I mean, you got in at 17, so obviously you followed in his footsteps.
Yeah, so, we grew up in church as a Christian family, and integrity there was no written contracts then. And, that's amazing. I don't know how you got through those times, but when you had your word was a handshake, and that was important. At the time, it's important now. And so what do I take from that is you do what you say you're going to do.
So
it's just simple.
Sure.
You do what you say you're going to do. And that's what my dad taught me. I can't tell you enough about the worth ethics of my dad. And he had 13 kids.
Wow.
And when they passed, it was 42 grandkids.
Wow.
And he left a legacy. And so he would be surprised, probably, to know where that had gone, and me building houses all over from New Iberia, Baton Rouge to Covington, Louisiana. He would be shocked to know what I had built.
Yeah.
And
shocked and proud.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And so I want to pass that to Adam, and he's to carry that on and be who he's supposed to be.
For sure. It's funny how, even with all of the, being lawyers, the contractual obligations and the documentation, that you still know when somebody shakes your hand and says, I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do. Because all the paper in the world doesn't prevent somebody from not
still
living
a
up to their
contract.
word.
Right.
I love starting a presentation. I'm like, all right, business owners, who in the room has contracts?
Yeah.
And I'm like, every one of you raise your hand. You're forming a contract every day just by saying,
that's
hey,
right.
I'm going to give you this service, whether it's in writing or not.
Yeah. And my dad taught me, when you shake somebody's hand, you squeeze it. You make it memorable. Don't give me a wet rag. I want to feel your handshake. And I've taught that to Adam. And I
was wondering why my hand was hurting after y'all introduced yourselves to me.
I know. So, but it's good. You have to leave a legacy with integrity, to pass on, because, I don't want to sit here and sound boastful at all, because God has been good to us, and we want to continue that as we go forward.
Yeah.
Amen.
So you referenced your faith a lot, and whenever you answered the questions you did, and I do want to skip to something that I think is important. I think the audience would be excited to know. Y'all helped design and build the chapel.
So
Covenant Baptist, right?
My first leg of my career, I actually worked for another firm. So kind of backing up a little bit, I grew up on the job site right as a young kid, pushing a broom, cleaning up, learning everything I could, just shadowing my father, what he described, what he did with his dad. And so being in the residential world as a young boy through high school, when I got out of college from LSU, I wanted to do something different, just try it, So I actually cut my teeth in the commercial world and worked for a well-known, respected firm here in town, Kent Design Build.
Yeah.
And I was with that firm for 12 years.
There's been some pretty impressive, some pretty great builders that have come from that company.
Yeah,
from
absolutely.
What I
They're very much special people, and just unbelievable in terms of how they care for their people and pour into them. And
a man of faith too. I know. I spend time with Kyle, and he it's an important part of his life.
Absolutely, yep. So I got to be a part of the growth there from one of the early employees. Watch the growth probably on the employee side, maybe 8 to 10x, and on the revenue side, probably 5x, and grow with the firm. And so, the chapel at First Baptist was one of my pet projects.
Nice.
I got to lead. Really, my role there was to lead the faith division of that firm, which specialized in designing and building churches.
Cool.
So I got to be a part of building churches all across the South.
Wow. Very cool.
Very nice. It's so weird, my family being in construction, and my brother now runs it, so my dad can go hunting. He's in Texas right now. But they go in like different waves of different types of buildings that they're working with in commercial, because you get known in that community. And for a little bit there, they were building a lot of churches. Not very lucrative, because, soft hearts, and you're a Christian, you wind up donating a lot of time back, but it does get in that wave. And you're giving back to the community.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, that one's great. I mean, it's one of the only wedding venues that is outside of like an actual main church in Covington. And I have been in there for a couple different things, but it is a really cool space.
Yes, it is.
So
It's
from the
a
service,
special place.
so from the services y'all offer, and just educate me here. There's the design build advertising that y'all do, right? So tell us what that means. Like, so do design build and not just be a builder.
Yeah, so the value that we offer our clients really is magnified when we can be involved in the very beginning. So a lot of times the natural historical method of construction is when a lot of people think you hire an architect first, and then when the drawings are finished, you bring in the contractor and you go out and solicit bids. That's really challenging. And what you do is you end up narrowing the value that partnership can bring, and you make it really one-dimensional. So we rather the opposite approach, where it's much more collaborative. You come early, the designer being the architect, the builder, and the whole team comes together at the very beginning. And at that point, we are truly designing and building together. So, in our business now, luxury homes is a high percentage of our business. Naturally, because of my background in commercial, we're doing commercial as well, but in a very targeted niche market for people that we know, or like we just built our own office building, so we're doing a commercial business park. So a very targeted approach. But the same process holds true, is that we're a part of the process very early in the beginning as a part of the design. We really pride ourselves in creating spaces where people can, our tagline is spaces where memories are made, nice. And so it's special when you can be a part of planning something high intentionality and to create something that later will impact families for, literally generations.
For sure. I think, one of the things that, from a building standpoint, you see is some of the buildings that you walk into that doesn't match the personality of the business or the person. Mm-hmm. But if you find the right place where there was like the design build aspect of whenever you're involved earlier in the process, you can see the people's personality come out more.
So on the flip side of that, I have seen people go to an architect or a designer and design a home that they want. There's a difference in what you want and what you can afford or want to afford.
Sure.
And so I've seen people spend $150,000 on a set of plans, and then they go find that builder and they can't afford it.
Sure.
And
they got to pay again to change those plans.
So it's just it's working backwards. And so we encourage people, go find you a builder that you can work with. And we like to think that we are that guy to help you design, walk through it. We can tell you, what windows cost on the front side, and it just makes it just a whole lot easier to do that.
Yeah.
And so we're the people to do that.
So do y'all work directly with the designers and the architects, or do y'all have somebody that y'all have
do.
on staff that do that?
We work directly with them.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, we it's both and. Like, we design some things in house, very selective on what it is, but we really like the outside strategic relationships. It's a big part of being in the community, and so we'll partner and refer to various firms in town and work with them on various projects repeatedly.
Yeah. And the stuff that y'all do from a commercial standpoint, you have to have an architect involved in that, right? I mean, that's something that we learned when we built this building. That from a commercial situation, you have to have an architect there, stamping the plans, being involved in the conversation on a regular basis. But whenever you have residential, there's not as much red tape around that.
Well, it's becoming more red tape, more stamping and more permitting. It's changing every day.
Every day.
And so you really need somebody to help you walk through that. And so,
it's not easy. Yeah, construction industry is not for the faint of heart. That's for sure.
I've watched a lot of good workmen struggle with the transition of understanding that when you're going from the field to the office. Yeah. Because it's two different skill sets. Yeah. Really three different skill sets because of the project management.
Oh, man.
And whenever, because we do some construction litigation for, our in-house clients, but it's always a loophole in one of those three processes, right? And it rarely is it ever on the job in skills. Right. You find a lot of people that have, the skilled laborers. Yeah. It's getting to that point of understanding project management and understanding the code enforcement side.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Absolutely. So in y'all's questions you answered, you talked about how your ideal client is somebody who cares about the quality of the work and they're involved on a regular basis. So, we talk about our ideal client really likes convenience, right? They need somebody that's going to handle the work, be completely be clear on the expectations and communicate well, but make sure that they can focus on what they're great at because they hired us to do a specific task and they're going to go and operate their gifts and their talents. So who's y'all's ideal client and how do you add value to that person when it comes to the home building process?
I will say this, that we can work for anyone, okay? But what that person needs to know, and I worked for people and built homes for people that were as far away as New York City, okay? But it doesn't matter to us because we're going to do what we're supposed to do and when we're supposed to do it. And so that person we can communicate any kind of way, but it's not going to change just because of distance what we do. And that actually, it makes us step our game up when they are our way to give them the assurance that, hey, you don't have to worry about anything. We're going to do it.
Yeah.
And so our perfect client would say...
I would say our ideal client is someone who appreciates the value that we bring.
Quality.
There's plenty of qualified contractors in this community, and many of which I'm personally friends with. And so, you can pick from a myriad of people that would probably build a good product. For us, though, it's really the experience that we offer through that process. We were joking the other day. We're part of a peer group of builders all around the country, about 20 firms. Right. And it's just collaborative, peer-to-peer learning. Yeah. And we hosted them last spring here in Louisiana. And one of the guys mentioned to Dad, he said, I noticed something that really took me by surprise. He said, as we toured all of your completed projects and met with your clients, they all gave you a big hug at the door. And he's like, my clients don't hug me.
Step it up,
true.
bruh.
And so
Sad.
that's a reality. That's a snapshot of when we talk about the experience, right? It's when you're building a home for somebody, it's invested,
Sure.
right? And so we see them in the grocery store. We're not dodging and ducking. We're giving them a hug and appreciative, and
You
so
can't. They're
all
so
relation.
emotionally charged
That's
in
right.
building
I
a
want
home.
relationships long term.
Yep. So our ideal clients are ones that see the value in a partnership. It's not about who's the lowest price, right?
Right.
We're not in this pricing war structure. It's, hey, these guys are going to treat me fair. They're going to do the right thing. And we're going to have a fun time doing it.
Yeah.
And when Adam keeps that attitude and that mindset, he's going to be fine.
Yeah.
You know, after I'm gone, he's going to be fine because that's just the way we do things.
Yeah, and we talk a lot about with our clients too. Whenever they're creating a business plan, wanting to grow and scale, if they don't have a clear purpose as to why they're operating their business, and it's only about money, or they have a hard time getting where they're going to be. But your tagline of creating a place where memories can be made, that gives you a purpose beyond just the dollar amount. You can make a decision for somebody to do the right thing and not worry so much about, like, am I squeezing every dollar out of this deal? But I have a relationship. I know that the people are going to remember me because I created a place where they can actually create those memories. I think that goes a long way, right?
And it's pretty special to be a part of, like, crafting that and then giving it to someone, right? Because I know how important memories are to my family and the way that we spend them and the places that we spend them. So to be the one who gets to create that and then say, here it is, enjoy. You know?
For sure.
And I've often heard people, contractors that we know that they go home and they cut their phone off.
Yeah.
They don't answer the phone. I answer my phone till I go to bed. And when I'm drinking coffee in the morning, my phone starts ringing. I don't have a problem with that, but that's just me.
Mr. Mike, we have that problem too.
Yeah.
All these lawyers around here, they don't give away their cell phone numbers. When the young ones come in our firm, I'm like, if your cell number ain't going on that card, don't walk in this building.
It's because one of our we talked about legacy, but our other value that we talk a lot about is vocation, and we truly feel like we're living our purpose that God's created us to live,
That's
right?
right.
And so we're doing what we're supposed to be doing, and we enjoy what we're doing.
Yeah.
So it's easy for me to say, like, sorry, I'm calling you on a day off, and you're answering. I'm like, but this is how I add value to the world and the community. I help you with.
right.
You don't want to limit your impact.
Yeah.
One of the things that I really like to do is before we start, I have an illness for having a desire to build a new house from the ground up. Okay,
A
I
straight
love it.
illness, huh?
Okay, and so at my age, it's got to be an illness. But I love to go with that couple, Adam and I, to go out there and say a prayer with them on that lot before we start turning dirt and ask God to go before us, because we can't do it ourselves.
That's pretty powerful, yeah.
And I people really have an appreciation for that.
For sure.
But I'm very passionate about that. I like doing that.
For sure.
I love it.
I've had one other business owner do that, and it makes an impact. No matter what your belief is, if you have that type of a mentality around, like, there's a purpose beyond me. That is here, and I'm trying to just be a part of whatever that purpose is.
There's a lot of decisions to be made in building a house.
And it's ultimately whatever we want is really not what's going to happen. It's what the ultimate whatever is supposed to happen is supposed to happen. And I had another guy who had the same type of experience with one of his employees, and he happened to be a third generation real estate broker. And it's just funny how business and things can carry on whenever you have that common value, and then your kids, whenever they can live that. I'm sure your dad had the same mentality about himself whenever he was around.
Gotta have that third party involved
For sure.
in all your relationships.
So we all understand that, people design houses, right? They design houses. And we build houses. But when it's finished, it flips over to a home. Okay? When those people move in, that's a home. And so we like to be a part of the house to a home.
Nice.
And we're with them. When they move in, we're still with them. There's a problem, we're going to go back and take care of it.
Yeah.
And that's just who we are.
Yeah, you talked about values earlier. One of our core values as a business is influence, and that's really something that I've gleaned from my father. He talked earlier about what he watched his dad do, but I've always watched my dad be very intentional with people he's with, whether it's down to the tradesman, you know, another core value of ours is value. And so knowing the name of that tradesman matters, right? I'm just not walking by him because he's performing a task with a means to an end. You know, it's, hey, that's Joe, and he has a family and kids, and we've been with him for the last 2 decades, or whatever the case may be, you know. But being a person of influence, something where I've just watched him be intentional with people, relationships, you know, projects, to make every moment count, right? And not just blow through the day because I've got a calendar and a task to do, an agenda, but slow down, make the moments really count, and be really influential with, you know, the legacy we leave.
Intentional is that word that dictates success that everybody wants to ignore. It's that discipline and intentionality.
I'd like to share a real quick story. I'm going to make it short, but talking about legacies. And when I tell you this story, you're going to understand more about where I came from. And that story is, my dad was a carpenter and built all over those cotton fields. And he was a sharecropper at the time. And so that meant he was living in a house that somebody else owned, okay? And he was running a dairy and driving nails. And he had a lot of kids. And I was one of those, about 4 years old when this took place. And he went up to the corner, and the lady that owned a cotton gin up there, this lady owned a cotton gin. Her name was Miss Bowie. And he went up there and asked her, I'm looking to buy some land. And she was a big landowner. And so they rode up the road 4 miles, and she said, I've got 80 acres here. Okay? I'll sell you, Mr. Martin, 80 acres. Well, 80 acres, that's a lot of land. Okay? And so she said, no, I'll sell it to you for $300 an acre, and you pay me once a year, December 31st. No interest, just pay me the note. It was on a 10-year note. So they signed that deal. I'm sure there was no paper signed.
Shook hands.
Okay? And then my dad, a few weeks later, was in Wisdom, Louisiana, where he bought lumber. And Mr. A.C. Kuiper owned that lumber company, Kuiper Lumber. And my dad walked into the counter, and Mr. A.C.'s office was on the second floor looking down on that counter. And he called down and said, tell Mr. Buddy Martin to come see me. And he went up those steps when he finished, and he said, yes, sir. He says, Mr. Buddy, I heard through the grapevine that you bought some land. He said, yes, sir, I did. Well, what is your intentions? He says, I want to build a house someday for my family. He said, what are you waiting for? He said, I want you to come over here and get what you want, what you need, and I want you, and just pay me when you can. Okay? And my dad was kind of like taken back. He said, no, you need a home for your family. And he said, I can't afford the concrete. And he said, no, you go to Head Concrete, Wardell Head, and tell him to give you the concrete you need and send me the bill.
Wow.
When he finished, he owed him $12,500.
That's wild.
Okay?
So crazy.
We had a 4-bedroom, 2-bath house. And then when we moved in, we didn't put brick around it. We wasn't going to push the plate there. So a few weeks later, Mr. A.C. Kuiper pulled up on a Saturday morning, and he asked my dad, where is the brick? Why don't you have brick on this house? He said, I can't do that. He said, no, you can. You go to Acme Brick, and you pick your out some brick and get it laid and send me the bill. And that's what we've lost, and that's what we try to be, is people to carry that legacy on and do what we say we're going to do. And that same company, Mr. A.C. Kuiper is gone, and Mr. Ernest Kuiper is gone. But when I built my first house in Covington, Louisiana, Mr. Ernest Kuiper brought a 18-wheeler load of lumber to my location, and right here in Covington for me.
Full circle.
That's it's just amazing.
This carries forward.
Yeah.
No.
That's crazy. You have 13 kids in a 4-bedroom house?
It was
You caught that, right?
4 bedrooms, 2 bath. Yeah, 1 story. It was and that's where I grew up right there.
That's great.
And it was perfect, huh?
Yeah, it was a good life for us.
Well, my eyes are not glossy at all. For sure, hearing that story.
Yeah.
But it's true that value of just leaning in and helping one another.
Yeah.
And when you're blessed to do that, you have to pay it
Yeah.
forward.
That's
so
right.
I love that story. I'm
You
glad
pay
you
forward
shared it with us.
I mean, and it pays
Yeah.
forward generationally, not just for that one
Yeah.
generation. Y'all are all doing that. That's great. So I do want to talk about. I saw on the website that y'all have some very important and key neighborhoods in St. Tammany Parish that y'all do business in, right? Sanctuary is
Yes.
one, Terabella is one. Y'all are in Chifuncta.
Yep.
So what about those neighborhoods that draws y'all attention, and are y'all's clients wanting to be in there, or is that have y'all chosen those neighborhoods to be a part of?
A little bit of both. So here in Terabella, we've been a part of that for really the early days. I mean,
Oh yeah, I was one of the first ones in.
Oh, nice.
I think to date we've probably built over 40, 50
40 homes
structures
in
you know
here.
what I
In
mean,
Terabella?
rooftops,
40 homes.
Wow.
a stretch of the townhomes, several of these commercial
3.
buildings on the boulevard.
Okay. So I live on Beauregard Parkway. So I'm
I built 8 of the townhomes in here.
nice. Terabella is important to me.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
we spend a lot of time in here. And
Yeah.
it's a great community, and I think you can tell that the builders who are in those key communities in the neighborhood,
Yeah.
you have a good relationship with good clients because those
Yeah.
people like high quality stuff, and they trust you to do that.
I built the largest house in Terabella.
Nice.
Yeah, we
Oh, the one in the back. I drive that all the time. It's a beautiful house. I think that I love that space. I like the gate in the front. Very cool.
So Terabella's been a part of our fabric. Chifuncta, just a lot of our clientele want to be in. It's beautiful, right? Large lots, trees, especially in phase 1. But again, it goes back to that relationship. It's long term. We have clients that we repeat for, so 2, 3, 4 times for the same family. We're actually about to build a house for a family we just built 3 years ago, and they decided they want to move, of all things.
Yeah.
We're going to get to build again. Then we built multi-generational, so work for dad, mom, and then all of a sudden now the kids have called, right? And so it's really
That's
cool to see
important.
that long term.
For sure. So one thing you mentioned a minute ago that I want to hit on too is that y'all are in a group of other builders that y'all meet with regularly to kind of build off each other.
yeah,
And I love talking to people who are learning based.
That's important.
It's important, and I think there's 2 ideas, right? There's the learning based, being able to be around people who are going to pour into you, so you can be a better builder or business owner in general, which is why we do what we do a lot of times. It's like we're trying to pour into the business community. But the other side of it is the collaboration idea, as opposed to the being scared. I mean, and feeling you're always in competition with people, right? Because you said there's a lot of builders you're friends with. So like, what do those groups do for you, and how did you decide that was the right group for you guys to be a part of?
Wow. Well, I'm a benefactor of watching my dad do that for 15 plus years and seeing from the outside, even before I was a part of the business, the benefit of that. And then even now, I've now transitioned here in my 4th year, and it's collaborative, it's peer to peer, it's accountability, right? So we set goals together as a group. The guys in our group are away from here geographically, so there is no competition in that spirit sense.
Right.
We share everything from financials to struggles to failures. And we set goals together. We meet twice a year. And then we're constantly in a text group, right, of everything from what are you grilling this weekend to college football to, hey, how come you hadn't gotten this goal done yet, right?
Yeah.
And so it puts wind in your sails when you can be a part of a group where they understand the very same thing that you're going through.
Yeah.
Because look, this is, I guess we're not immune like other industries, but construction in particular is very difficult. I mean, to be quite frank and sober, it has one of the highest mental health challenging careers that there are.
Yeah.
And because of that, it's disappointing, but the suicide rate's really high for our industry. And so it's difficult when you carry a lot of stuff in the career world, and sometimes your spouse can't even understand that if they're not in the business.
Yeah.
And you can't go home and just share that because they don't understand. They maybe want to empathize, but they can't understand because they're not in it. But when you get in that peer-to-peer relationship of guys who are living in it, and we pray together, right? We laugh together. We cut up. We have time. We go out. We have, it's just unbelievable.
Yeah. But that was one of the things I hope you'd hit on is I've kind of got a sense of y'all's values. You've talked about some of them, but also the ones that you might not have on your wall, but y'all actually live by. The guys in that group I'm sure have that common thread, right? Because there's a lot of business groups you can be a part of, and we're quite frankly a part of a lot of different groups, but there are some that just mean more, the ones that actually make a bigger impact on you. And it's usually because there's a common thread between those groups.
And look, these guys we have to be invited to be a part of that. So it's not something that you put your name in the hat and then a group has to actually adopt you.
Cool. Right.
And so as a group, we have collectively tried to, search for people that are similar scale, like-minded, aspirations, goal-driven. But we have different sizes as well because guys have grown in the group. Yeah. Right. And so guys have been there longer, have scaled up, and so then they're helping the younger guys and vice versa.
The tone of the problem changes. The problem doesn't always change, but the tone of the problem changes. So you got to scale with it.
You think you can't learn something, you know it all, you just get yourself involved in a Builder 20 group. And how that started was I went to Las Vegas one year for the National Home Builder Show, and I went into a room where there was there was 50 or 60 builders and sitting around a table having a round table. They had a speaker up there, and then he had a open discussion time. And man, it was awesome. And I'm like, I came home, told a local builder, man, and he said, you need to be in a Builder 20 group. And I went online and did it. And I've been in it ever since.
Well, I think a lot of small business owners discount the stress before they get started on having to make decisions on their own constantly. Man. And like we have 4 partners, so we already have a board of its own essentially, right? And we all play a different role and approach the problem differently. But most small businesses, you have a solo or just 2 people making all the decisions. And the weight of not being able to bounce that off of other people makes it really difficult. So these groups create not only friendships, accountability, but you have a board of advisors.
That's right.
Yeah.
That truly understand your needs.
There can be an element of like you reluctancy, right? You don't want to share some of your trade secrets because you're worried about people using them against you. But the reality is we found that when we're just generous in that, right, then it can only be good from that. Not just for you, but for them. And when the whole, the tide goes up together, then there's multiplication, right, and compounding growth.
Better industry, better community.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And there's not too many things in the world at this point that are novel that you do different than everybody else. So it's just like, if you have the work ethic and the values to back it up, you can give everybody your playbook, and they're going to have a hard time replicating it, being and living your brand. We tell people that all the time. Like, if you're scared to spend money and scared to collaborate, you're going to be stuck where you're at a lot of time.
There's so many people in our business that are struggling because they're not getting the knowledge that they can get from these groups. And when I go back to where I started, and I remember us buying our first Hewlett-Packard computer, and then we had some lady from the millwork company that come over and show my wife. She has carried me through this whole thing all of these years and doing everything. And but we've come a long way, baby. That's all I can say.
You got more than one computer now?
That's right.
Oh my goodness. I just remember that so clearly when we got our first computer.
I remember when my dad did as well.
Yeah.
And his IT guy is still his IT guy.
That's funny.
Oh my goodness.
It's fun to watch. And my godmother worked in a shed behind our house for a long time. I mean, watching that growth, y'all are incredible. It's good testimony for us.
Today, I don't know how we made it back then.
Yeah.
With what we're doing today and what we have to help us with. So it's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna ask 2 more questions. This is I'm gonna put you on the spot twice. My grandfather's 85 years old, and I'm not saying you're that old. I have no idea how old you are, but you seem like the kind of guy who's not hanging it up anytime soon.
It hadn't been said to me yet.
And
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it. If I stop, I'm not ready for the cane and the walker yet.
Yeah, well, that's what my grandfather says. He is healthy. He eats Vienna sausage and bologna mayonnaise sandwiches and Borden's ice cream.
Yeah,
and he's in good shape. He went to Canada with me to go hunting this year, and he's like, all my family members got older when they stopped.
Yeah, that's right.
But if I keep going to work, keep going fishing, I keep doing all that stuff, I feel like I can continue to go.
Keep it going.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that the Builder 20 group has held me accountable because 8 years I've been trying to take off on Fridays, and I've just never done it. And so the Builder 20 group says, boom, you're starting right now. Next Friday, you're taking off. And so I've been taking off every Friday. It's worked out pretty good.
That's awesome.
Them 3-day weekends are nice.
Yeah.
I get a
my
text.
wife
Is
loves
Mike in the office? You know?
One day.
All right, last question.
Yeah.
And again, if you had to think about this for a second, take your time. Y'all were talking about legacy and generations, right?
Yeah.
And you have boys, girls?
I have one daughter and 2 boys.
2 boys. So right now they're not going to comprehend this, but at some point, if they can watch this and they're going to get into building or make an impact
Right.
and a legacy, what do you want to tell them right now?
Boy. I would tell them it's real simple. Keep God close first in your life, okay? And pray about everything, and you will be fine. And they will know, but I do not want my grandchildren to feel it necessary to go to college to do what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I never went to college a day in my life, but my dad told me to learn everything that you can learn. And once it's up here, no one can ever take it from you. And then you can walk up to a man and ask him for a job. Mm-hmm. And I never will forget that. And I've done that because I've worked on high-rise buildings in downtown New Orleans when I first moved down here. And I built some awesome custom houses. And so I want the next generation to understand they can be whatever they want to be. It just set their head to it. Mm-hmm. But you don't have to go get a fancy education. Just learn a trade.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I've done.
And work hard.
If you want to do that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for me, I have young kids. They're 11, 8, and 5. But I would say stay close to the Lord, right? That's a big part of our heart and the fabric of our family.
Yeah.
But really value the relationships you have. It's not about the rooftops. It's not about how many yards of concrete poured in our generation, and all that's going to be done. And how we live alongside each other, that's really what's going to matter. So spend time with those people that matter.
Yeah. Very cool. Yeah. Y'all did great.
It made me cry twice.
It was fun.
Yeah.
It was a blast.
Cool. Thanks for
by
coming,
quick.
guys.